Okay, here we are on the last of the Leo editor guides. We're going to be touching on portals and warps. We're going to go ahead and start with a portal here on the Alien. We'll go ahead and use that. It's a pretty good one to start with. Your frequency here, as you can see, is who can use the portal, and -1 is anybody. And this right here is set to 0. That's because 0 is actually a frequency for the aliens, and only the aliens can use it. And as you can see here on the elevators, it's set to -1, which is anybody. But back on the alien holes, frequency 0, so only aliens are able to use the alien holes. Marines won't be able to walk on them and use them. Damage ignore time is after they walk through the portal. In case you didn't know, portals are actually like elevators and other warp points whenever they leave the dropship and such as that. So, depending on what kind of portal it is, you may or may not want to give them a damage ignore time. You may want them, as soon as they go in through the elevator, they're able to be hit or be killed. But that's just like it says. Here's your grace period after you go through there. The reuse delay is kind of obviously after you go through a portal. How long can it be till you can go through that same portal again? This can be used to kind of prevent and fight back against the portal abuse, like whenever you drop a flag on a portal, or what they call it, elevator flag, and such as that. You can set that to a lower time. If you set it to an incredibly low time, then you're going to run into problems with people just running up and down and in and out of the elevators, and that can create problems too. So you just got to find a good balance there. Destination warp group. I'll hit on that here in a second. Gravity is kind of odd. Like if they will pull you into the portal, kind of like a black hole type effect going on. But for the most part, you don't want to use that. And here's your skill logic. It can go along with your frequency here. If like I said, this one's set to 0, and that's so you can touch on the alien skill logic down here, so that only aliens are able to use that. So back up here on the destination warp group, that's actually telling you where this portal is going to take you. So portals are the beginning, and they lead you to the warp. So portal would be the beginning, go into the warp. So destination to the warp group from the portal is 30, as you see here, alien hole down. And so down here on the warp, we'd click the destination, and that's where you would come up here and you would put in the warp group, also 30, linking the two, the portal to the warp. Pretty simple. Just make sure that they both use that this one has the destination set to the same thing that this one has warp group set to. Now for the warp group, you can see here minimum player count is whenever this will become active, and maximum how many players are allowed to be in the arena before this one discontinues. And then you got the same thing going on here, except this is for the area. If you only want it to be active whenever a certain amount of people are within that area, which is one of those kind of obsolete options. But you want to go, if you're not planning on using it, you still want to have this set to 0 and a relatively high number, like 500, because there's obviously probably not going to be 500 people in the arena before it'll quit being used. But and your warp group, like I explained earlier, your warp mode parameter, this is a little more complicated. This ties in with your configuration file and your vehicle file a little bit more. We'll go over here to Marine Death Start, and you can see here that it's 1, as 1 is the Marines, so it only applies to the Marines. And since this is set to 0, then anything will go ahead and use this. But since Marines are warp parameter 1, it'll catch on to that, and it'll go ahead and put them in the correct location whenever they spawn from their death. And like I said, this is also defined in the configuration file, so you're going to want to definitely be sure and go in there and check that out before you call it good and done. And your warp mode is, like it says here, specific team or anybody, or on and on. You can set that there. And your skill logic, again, as you can see here, is we'll load it up so you can get a good look at it. There you go. It's set to not class ID 1. This is right there, and once again the exclamation point means not. And class ID 1, it would be, you can't see it here because it's defined in the vehicle file, but class ID 1 is the Marines. So Marines cannot use this. And then down here in your start, you don't have to use that necessarily, because you can if you want to do a double check, and you can put not class ID 0 for the aliens. And that's your portal and your warps. That's how you get that in there. Hopefully I was good about that. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the sounds, as these are fairly basic stuff. These are just to add like ambient sounds into your arena. Your frequency is who can hear it, and -1 is anybody. Play odds is how often that it'll play. As you can see through some of these others, they only have like a 75% chance of playing that, so they don't constantly play every single time you walk by them. They're a little more, like I said, ambient. Your sound volume is how loud it is. 0, as you can see, is just the full loudness, which is how loud they actually have their in-game sound to. And you got your different options down through here. And if you go negative, you can specify different volumes if you want to be kind of quieter, or so on. Inactive frame, I'm actually not too sure. It says which frame of the graphic is to display when it's not triggered. Well, I guess that would actually be if you wanted a picture to pop up, like if you had a bug sound, all of a sudden a bug would kind of pop up and flutter around, or whatever. And you can specify the paused frame for that. Trigger delay is amount of time after triggering before it will trigger again. So it's like after it goes off, if you wanted to wait a little while before it does it again. That way, once again, it's not playing all the time. It kind of ties in with your play odds up here. Trigger on entry is whether the Leo item only triggers on entry into the region. So you pretty much always want to have that. That way, whenever you specify over here your area, that'll only play within that sound, and only play whenever they enter it, instead of playing continuously while they're going through there. It just depends on the sound. It'll basically, if you want it to loop or not while they're walking through the area. And your minimum maximum player counts again on whether or not you want to only have it come up whenever certain amounts of population are in the arena. And then it's pretty specific here for the sound, which is the sound that you want it to play whenever it goes through. And too bad you can't hear the sounds. It's actually kind of cool. But yeah, there you go. There's your portals connecting to your warps, and then your sounds. Just remember, portals go to warps. If you want it to go back up from after they go through the portal, you're gonna have to add another portal there where your destination warp is, leading back up to the other one. And once again, this is the end of the Leo information, audio, whatever you want to call this. I hope it helped you out. If you have any questions or anything, you can probably get a hold of me one way or another, and just let me know. And have a good one, and good luck playing with your Leos.